welcome to From Shambles to Shambhala. Beautiful sunny day here right at the end of April, and we've decided today to come out into the landscape in Victoria, into the sign of Taurus, as the sun is presently moving through Taurus. This beautiful high elevation park with a stunning view around Victoria. The only word to really describe what is happening in the world right now is intense. The energies are really challenging, and they're pushing and pulling and gloryful and scary, and it's just everything is up in the field right now, and everything seems to be converging into this now moment. We've had these very significant Schumann resonance frequency elevations to shake us up from the earth below, as well as these solar flare ejections coming out of the sun. So we are being compressed into hopefully diamonds of the future, but it can be very challenging as we navigate our way through. Currently the sun is in the 27th gene key, which is the gene key of self-nourishment. So I really urge you to focus on looking after number one first at this time, doing whatever you need to look after yourself, to self-care, to self-nourish, because we are coming into some fairly challenging times still to come. But before we do that, let's just mention that on Monday, May 1st, we have Beltane, beautiful fire. It is the entry point to early summer, the warming of the land and the beginning of the growing season, typically anyway in the northern hemisphere. And this is one of our warmest days of the year so far today, and it just changes everything when you start getting this warmth on your back and the bright sunshine coming down. That then is very quickly followed next Friday, May 5th, by a partial lunar eclipse. Now the nodes of the moon are still in Scorpio and Taurus, so this partial lunar eclipse is in the sign of Scorpio for the lunar eclipse full moon, and the sign of Taurus for the sun. So this is the axis of the nodes of the moon at this time. And at this time, Pluto is at an exact square to those nodes of the moon. And on Monday, May 1st, Pluto turns retrograde. You'll probably remember in a previous Shambles I talked about how Pluto was going to be going back and forth over the cusp between Capricorn and Scorpio. And it's at 1 degree Scorpio now. Now it's going to go backwards back into Capricorn. So it's going retrograde. So at this time, Pluto in retrograde motion, it's like Mercury retrograde, which is already retrograde. It tends to churn everything up, stir everything up. And its role is death and rebirth. So it's going back now into Capricorn to see what hasn't yet been allowed to die that we need to let go of, which then lines perfectly with this full moon lunar eclipse on Friday the 5th. So we're being asked to think now, the south node in Scorpio, it's the past. Scorpio is all about the underworld. So what do we still need to focus on, to let go of, so we can step into the new energies, the new world, so we can birth the new earth? Because the other end of that polar axis, Taurus, is inviting us to anchor in the new energies to come. And that new moon in Taurus won't happen until May 19th. So we're clearing out the old first, and then seeing what foundations we can lay down for the future. Getting really clear on our own intentions for ourselves in this new earth. Now, Pluto is going retrograde, as I said, and the nodes of the moon always move backwards. So we've got this really strange situation where they're going to stay in this square alignment for a long time. And the nodes are going to move back into Aries and Libra in the fall, in October, November. And Pluto is going to be back in Capricorn by then. So they're going to stay in this square alignment throughout this time. So there's going to be a lot of churning things up, revealing things from underneath. It's like we've got this inversion taking place. So it's really important for us to stay calm, stay centered, nourish ourselves in whatever way we need to physically, and really focus on whatever it is that's coming up that needs to be cleared and set free, particularly on that 5th of May. Very interesting that the following day, the 6th of May, is the coronation of King Charles. I don't think the royal astrologer was consulted to make that decision the day after a partial lunar eclipse. So with that Scorpio axis, and King Charles is a Scorpio, it will be interesting to see what actually shows up and happens on that 2 or 3 days around the coronation. On April 1920, there was a total solar eclipse on the second new moon in Aries this astrological month, which makes it a very, very powerful event where the sun gets completely blocked out by the moon. And it's like a reset moment for the sun as it returns back from behind the moon, allowing us to step up into a higher frequency, an up leveling of us and also of Mother Earth herself. So we made the decision that we needed to do some sacred ceremonial work with the landscape. And fortunately, we already knew that one of our Gulf islands just off the coast of Vancouver Island has some very special geometric alignments with some of the most sacred sites on the planet through hexagonal and pentagonal structures, 6-pointed stars and 5-pointed stars in the landscape of that island. So 3 of us decided to go on a journey to that island and connect to the points on that island that were lined up to some of these sacred sites. And we're talking about places like Machu Picchu, Ayers Rock in Australia, Mount Kailash in the Himalayas, and this interconnecting throughout the land. We also knew that there was a node point on this island, which is where all the ley lines come into like a nerve network center. So by going to that particular location and doing ceremony, we were able to connect into these ley line grids across the planet. And many of you know that we follow and connect in with Oracle Girl, and she is spending the month of April in the UK, reconnecting to the ley line grids of what would have been the old pagan, druidic, Celtic energies of the land in England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, and reintroducing, activating the 5th dimensional grids within the earth below us. So we decided that this was a wonderful opportunity for us to go to this island and connect into these sacred sites on the planet, connect into the earth directly below us, but also connecting into the work that Oracle Girl is doing in the UK. Our belief is that it is going to be Mother Earth that is going to make the shift of the ages, that she is going to raise the frequency of the earth in such a way that humanity will mass awaken. And there are already many of us who are on this journey as light workers doing this work on behalf of Mother Earth and on behalf of Father Sky in terms of spirit. But more and more people are waking up on a daily basis. So there is going to be a tipping point. If you can imagine all these pinpricks of golden light across the planet where people are anchoring their energies into the land below their feet. And at some point there is going to be a flash of light, a coalescence of all these pinpricks of light all across the planet, creating this golden sphere of high frequency 5th dimensional energy of pure love consciousness. So I encourage each and every one of you to find a place in the landscape in your local area or in your meditations in a place that you feel this strong sacred connection, and just standing on that location, opening up your crown chakra to the heavens, inviting the luminous frequencies of loving light to descend upon you, anchor them in your heart in pure love, and then allow that energy to flow down through the soles of your feet into Mother Earth. This is a reciprocal dance. So you're offering yourself to Mother Earth and she will offer herself back to you. And the whole game will change in our favour. It is unstoppable because this is what humanity wants and it's what Mother Earth wants. So let's take the opportunity then as we move into these warmer days in the Northern Hemisphere to get out into nature, spend time with her, honour her deeply, and do sacred ceremony to connect deeply with her, to change the face of this earth into